I apologize, everyone. So excited to get ready. Let's try that again. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's virtual forum entitled The Impact of Incarceration, Dismantling the School to Prison Pipeline Through Community and Parent Engagement, hosted by the NAACP's Education Committee of Wilson, North Carolina. I am Adrian Dixon, Community Partner and Branch Manager of Self-Help Credit Union. I would like to ask all the elected officials, clergy, and program directors, if you would, please acknowledge yourself by typing your name in the chat. Thank you. First, I would like to encourage everyone to enhance their viewing experience. If you would, place your Zoom in speakers mode. And once again, welcome. And next, Pastor Roman. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you are having a good night. Just wanted to say I'm glad and honored to be a part of this forum and to open us up in prayer. So if you would, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father in heaven, we just come to you now, thanking you for your Son, the Lord Jesus Christ, who gave it all for us. Lord, I just pray now that through the conversations that are about to take place, through the information that is shared, dear God, that we would be educated, that we would be enlightened, Lord, and that not only that, but we would be empowered to work towards this goal of impacting these children and helping those that need help to access to education and how to and just the process of how we can be a fundamental part of change, that we can bring about just hope and peace, Lord. I know as a pastor, it's my desire for all to know the Lord Jesus Christ, but it's also my heart's desire that as a community we come together, helping one another, serving one another, and growing in our relationship. So God, be with us as we walk this journey together. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Good evening, everyone. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. My name is Sierra Cobb, and I'm the advocate for Emancipate NC. Tonight, we have a shared program, a collective program between Emancipate NC and the NCAAP of Wilson and CAPE. And we would like to thank Vera Institute for funding this program. The reason why I'm here tonight is the purpose to figure out community-based faith programs, after-school programs, anything to keep our children diverted away from the criminal justice system, to have more of a restorative justice, anything that we could do to keep them from being referred to the DA's office from the school, just to break up the school to prison pipeline. So we are here tonight, and we have some data that we have gathered to show how Wilson over the past couple of years have worked on the prison to pipeline to lower the percentage. They went from 80th percentile to, you can see right there, they're at the 58th percentile. So that is a slow progress, but it's a good progress to keep our kids out of the pipeline. So the data shows that graduation rates for Blacks and Hispanics students are steady fairly over time. But as far as for the whites, it's much lower. And on the next slide, it shows that our goal is to reduce the incarceration rate for our Black and Brown and BIPOC communities while they're in school, just basically to have them do more programs where we're not keeping our kids in the criminal justice. They can go to after school programs, have faith-based faith-based programs or any type of restorative justice counseling, anything to keep them away, because we have to pour into our children more. And they always say it takes a village to raise one. So we have to do better as a community as far as finding other alternatives for our children. And I will hand it over to Dr. Carroll.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to introduce our panelists. Next slide, please. Tonight, we have the honor of being in the presence of greatness. We have Major Benjamin Benny Borkins that is here with us from the Wilson Police Department to talk to us about the Police Athletic League. It has won national awards for its service to the children of Wilson County. And I'll let him go into more detail, but I do know that they served over 250, 300 children before the pandemic in different after school programs. We also have Dr. Lamont Foster, who's the Executive Director of Savor Youth here in Wilson. They have a variety of programs, including summer and after school programs. And I'll let him go into more details about that. Miss Amy Nichols is with Wilson County Schools. She is the coordinator for multi-tiered systems of support, which is MTSS and restorative justice. And we have the prestigious representative Linda Cooper Suggs, who will be our moderator for the evening. And we thank all of you for taking your time to come out and to speak with us tonight. Thank you. We don't have any sound on this one. I can't hear it. This one is about halfway over already, Elizabeth. And I still—
You may need to unmute your computer for it to play through. I saw you were still muted. That might be what's causing it.
Hello, my name is Sandra Green. I'm the assistant principal at Frederick Douglass Elementary School here in Wilson County. And I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about restorative practices, which is a series of questions that I go through when I am talking to students when there has been some sort of behavior incident or discipline referral. The questions basically follow a protocol of what happened, what was going on at the time of the incident, who was hurt at the time of the incident, whether feelings or physically, what can we do next time, and how are we going to do it next time. We focus a certain way on K2, and we do a certain way with 3-5. The biggest thing is we know our students. It's about the relationship and our students feeling safe when they come in here to talk. And one thing that we do when they come in, we give them space to settle down. We will practice the breathing technique, and then we just work through the questions. With kindergarten through 2nd grade, role playing is a big part of teaching them how to resolve conflicts. With 3rd through 5th grade, I get them to use their words, and I call it Kindergarten Guidance 101. I feel, when, you, because. And then we always come up with 3 choices so that they can have a toolkit of how to resolve conflicts with others. Again, the biggest thing I cannot stress it is know your students. Relationship is the key.
Time for your panelists, Dr. White?
Elizabeth, we are at the point of having Representative Linda Cooper Suggs to begin her questions.
Good. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Let me first say it's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. I thank you for all the work that you do. We truly have a distinguished panel in front of us this evening with Major Boykin, Dr. Foster, and Ms. Nichols. So therefore, I look forward to being a part of this organization. I do thank NAACP and the NAACP Education Committee for their leadership, Vera Institute, as well as all the partners who have become a part of this. We are here tonight to deal with the impact of incarceration, dismantling the prison pipeline through community and parent engagement. Let's get started. We're ready to dive in. This evening, as I begin to ask the questions, I'm going to call out the order in which I would like for the panelists to respond to each of the questions. And let's begin with question number 1. What do you deem the greatest contribution to the prison pipeline, the greatest contributor, not contribution, but greatest contributor to the prison pipeline for youth, and why? Let's start in this order. Ms. Nichols, Amy, let's start with you, followed by Dr. Foster, the illustrious Dr. Foster, and then Major Boykin. The greatest contributor to the prison pipeline for our youth, and why?
Hi, good evening. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. I'm Amy Nichols, again with MTSS coordinator for the district. And I feel that based on various literature and research that I've read, to me, unsupportive relationships leading to some unhealthy, unstable environments could be a contributor to the pipeline for youth. This environment, I'm thinking of, lacks of positive working relationships that are both, supportive, collaborative. If we're missing those pieces, I feel that things can lend itself to some negativity, disengagement types, rebellious types of behaviors. Sometimes we react into situations without teaching how to build those relationships. We're more reactive. Helping those resolve conflicts, make changes to avoid that same behavior in the future. So sometimes it's in the case that we may send the wrong message that we don't care. We sometimes get caught up in those moments of chaos. We're trying to get these things accomplished and tasks done. We forget to slow down sometimes and take the time to listen, to understand, and to connect. And sometimes we go down the wrong road. If we're caught in that unhealthy environment with relationships that are unsupportive, we make that wrong turn and have no one really there to redirect us. So who is there to teach us? Who is there to support us? We start disconnecting ourselves and becoming more pessimistic about life. We feel as no one understands us or no one will listen. And we too will either shut down or lash out at some things. So the same is true for our youth. I feel like we're all human. We need each other to lean on, to help steer us in those right directions. And so we need to instill that environment of active listening and conflict resolution. I think of character building, which will improve our attendance, our engagement, and reduce that exclusionary practice. So we have to establish this safe, comfortable space in which our youth feel supported. They have someone to connect to.
Amy, thank you so much for that, for those responses. Dr. Foster, could you continue to elaborate, please? Unmute, Doc.
I would have to say that it began in 1994 with the Clinton bill, violent crime control and law enforcement. But more importantly, we give that bill too much teeth. It actually began in the 70s that these particular bills to cause the incarceration trend to quadruple, because it was part of the plan when they met behind closed doors in the dark basements of our political system, that they came up with these plans to further control and to create a system that was unfair for people of color. We find that incarceration of minorities, people of color, went up to 60%. $8.7 million was built, was given to build more jails, more prisons. And as a result of that, we miss the mark. We all know it is the economy, stupid. It's the economy. Most people, regardless of what background they come from, what their racial makeup may be, most people, 99% of our population, want to be able to work.
That's true.
You provide folks with a decent income, provide them the avenues that they need in order to get training that provide them with a trade that will, or skills that they're able to be marketable. Most people, regardless if they're white, blue, green, or yellow, just want to be able to provide for their families. And another thing, we're not the ones who have the boats or the ships bringing the drugs into our communities. We're not the ones that have access to these firearms. How are they getting into community? How is the alcohol, how is the drugs getting into our community? I don't have a boat. Do you have a boat? Do you have a plane? None of us. So let's get real and really get to the heart of the matter. It's not the police force. The police force is there to protect us, and we need to make sure that we have a strong police force and protect them. We just got to make sure we weed out those who are not for the people and not doing their jobs and taking care of the needs and securing and enforcing the law. The problem is the economy. And if you provide for people, they will work. You provide a decent income, they will work. You provide them with training, they will go to work. Most people just want to work and take care of their families. And when you lead them to fend for the crime, giving 94 bill too much credit. It began 4 decades before that. This plan was implemented 4 decades before that. It began in the 70s. So if you want to take down a group of people, pull from them how they are going to feed their families. And you'll see crime going up. When the economy is up, crime is down.
Dr. Foster, thank you so much. Thank you. Major Boykin, what can you add to it?
I'm Major Boykin with the Wilson Police Department of Field Operations. Dr. Foster touched on one of the things I said, economic plays a vital part in the pipeline. Like he said, if the economy is good, crime is down, families are functioning. Also, another thing that I think adds to it is that single family home. Mothers having to raise their kids alone, or fathers having to raise their kids alone, that plays an important part, because a single family income, mom has to work sometimes 2 jobs, and she's away from her family and kids. There's nobody there watching. And so therefore, those kids are more able to go out and get in trouble because mama's having to provide for home or daddy's having to provide for their families.
Well, we've started off in an excellent way. We've had history lessons, part of our the social problems that exist within our society, with the economy, single family homes, relationships, and all of that, which have served as contributors to what we are talking about this evening. So now I want you to tell me something else. Tell us a little about your program and how it diverts youth from the prison pipeline, all the things that was mentioned a few moments ago, plus multiple other things that occur within our society. What are you doing? Dr. Foster, you know I love Savor Youth because I was one of your staffers. I was until COVID showed up. So if you would please tell us a little about Savor Youth.
Savor Youth program has been in operations for 12 years, and our goal is to allow our youth, and we work in a partnership with the Wilson County schools to help to serve the underserved, those who are considered at risk. We provide them with a safe haven where they're able to receive help with their homework. They're able to character education. They're able to see live models of people who are successful. We have had with the United Way, with the YMCA, they come and they provide services. We also make sure that we provide vocational programs for them as well. One was sewing, and we miss you dearly. And that work was done, and these kids produced some of the best work I've seen. Then we got computer skills, teaching the kids computer skills. Also, we're working on the work in the kitchen, being able to teach the kids how to make a simple breakfast instead of just microwaving everything. So we have a culinary arts program going on. Also, we're about to engage in teaching Taekwondo. We're teaching Taekwondo, but we're going to add to it Jiu-Jitsu, and I will be their instructor. And so we have a variety of programs geared to give the students the opportunity to see that that their zip code does not define them. That they can go beyond their zip code, and that we know that a good education equals equalization. If you want equality, people will respect a kind heart and an intelligent mind, and that's what we drill into them. We give them opportunity to go on field trips, to go outside of the Wilson area or their communities, just to let them see that there's life other than what they see in their nearby communities. So we're providing them with the avenue to be able to show them that you don't have to go down to the gangs, you don't have to go to drugs, you don't have to do, that's just something to pull you under. You can rise above that by associating yourself with people who have positive attitudes and who want to see you prosper. And there are a lot of leaders, both white and Black and Hispanic, that want to help our children to grow. Because if your children are strong, your community has a future to be even stronger. And we need to make sure we focus our time and opportunity and resources in helping our children, because we are fading away. And when we're the age we can't do anymore, have we poured the time, the resources, the training, and provided the skills for our children to be able to continue the legacy of fairness, equality for all?
Thank you, Dr. Foster. Major Boykin, can you continue expounding?
Yes, the Wilson Police Department has the POW program, which has prior to COVID, we did over 35 camps, programs, and activities, and working with our youth that are in the community. We have a mentoring program where we have 4 mentoring groups. We have a teenage group and an elementary age group. During these mentoring sessions, we actually provide tutoring to the kids for approximately 2 hours, and then we'll go out and do fun activities with them. But we have a Officer Harris, who pretty much, she goes in, and all our kids that are in our mentoring group, she gets progress reports from the school. We have access to the report cards, and so we can see what these kids are struggling with and we have outside individuals that come in and assist us with tutoring. We also have our athletic camps where we provide, our biggest one is our football / cheerleading camp. That is a week-long camp where we, the boys come in and all of our officers come out and they spend time with the kids, teaching them football fundamentals and just spending time with them so the kids get to know the individual officers so that when they're patrolling around town, they see these officers and they're able to go up and speak to them. We've had instances in the past where officers that have been involved with kids come up and speak to them and tell them about stuff that they were getting ready to do, and the officers are able to talk to them and persuade them not to do that and get in trouble. All of our camps are provided free, and POW was started under Chief Hopkins, retired Chief Hopkins, and has been carried on with Chief Biddle.
Thank you so much. It does take a village, and we're seeing that with the programs that we're hearing about already. Ms. Nichols, let's hear what the Wilson County school system is doing.
Yes, ma'am. We're also, as part of the District School Improvement Coordinator, part of my role is providing some professional learning opportunities regarding behavior and social emotional learning. And then over the past several years, we began professional learning around positive behavior intervention supports, or in short, PBIS, just to develop our staff's understanding of tiered behavior support with a real heavy, solid foundation of core support. So it's building those foundational skills with establishing routines, building positive behavior, and teaching those expectations so that we have a systematic way to build a common language around our expectations. So all the students understand what those expectations are, and we develop those positive relationships with them. So it's more of a whole school approach, and where you're establishing routines for the adults and the behaviors to prevent some of those negative behaviors, being proactive. Somewhere around 2019, we started digging into and having conversations around social emotional learning in conjunction with restorative practices. We focused what is the 5 social emotional learning competencies and how these competencies can support our students socially and emotionally. You know, just as we teach content in school, we also need to embed these competencies, and these competencies can consist of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. So by embedding these competencies, we're teaching, and it helps assist in preparing our youth to compete in that global economy. And our vision here in Wilson County Schools is a place where students can participate in this educational environment, where they're engaged, they're empowered, to be productive citizens, so they are prepared in the global economy. And we have to teach these skills. So as we're learning, as the staff is learning and engaging in this work of social emotional learning, we integrated or began integrating in 2019, 2020, a tough time with the pandemic, but we began integrating circles, which is a restorative practice. Our PBIS coaches and principals took part in a 2-day training to learn how to create this environment. And so circles is a positive space where they can build the supportive environment where adults or students, whoever is part of that circle, feels safe to share, build relationships. It allows each participant to have a voice. They can see each other's perspectives. And once you have that circle in place, if a conflict arises, they learn how to resolve those conflicts before tensions are really heightened. And so we are continuing this year to dive deeper into how social emotional learning competencies can be embedded in their core everyday content instruction, and then also exploring more about restorative environments. And so I have one of our books here, our coaches, let's see if you can see this one. This year is going to focus and do a book study on creating restorative schools. And it's a book by Martha Brown, setting schools up to succeed. So we're just going to kind of do a book study and start to learn more about what does this mean? You know, what does this look like in a school? And we're going to use circles to do that in our conversation. So we're excited to hopefully both continue to build SEL and restorative practices. And we think that by using these systematically, we'll be able to build an equitable learning environment, which is our goal, that we have this equitable learning environment where students feel safe. We're building those relationships and hope that the restorative practices that we do with them that will provide our youth, our adults, the staff, opportunities to develop, practice, and reinforce these SEL competencies to hopefully help prepare them for the global economy.
From what I'm hearing, all of this has to be a strategic plan.
Yes, ma'am.
With Savor Youth, with the creative restorative practices, with the programs from Major Boykin and our Wilson Police Department. Everything has to be strategic. And we focused at this point on our students or our young people. But we also know that, and we've talked a little in regards to what teachers and staff members do in regards to this. So let's dwell a little bit more in
Yes, ma'am. So like I said a while ago, we have an officer, Officer Harris, who has maintained contact with schools that our mentees are in. And at the point, she has established a relationship where and the parents have signed the paperwork for us to get their progress reports and their report cards. So that way we can actually see what they're doing, where they're struggling, where they need help at. And we focus on that with our tutoring programs that we have during our mentoring process. We've have a relationship with the parents where if they see their kids are starting to struggle with things, we have a relationship where the advisor that is over the groups is able to, the parents are able to contact the advisor and say, hey, my kid is struggling with this. Are you able to provide assistance with, say if it's math, do you have somebody that can specialize in math with this to help these kids understand it? We've reached out prior to COVID. We had retired teachers and other staff members that would come in and do part of the tutoring because we feel like a teacher will be able to explain it more. And police officers are good at explaining stuff, but a teacher or someone who's experienced in, math, science, or any of that stuff, is able to explain it a little bit more. So we've reached out and we're able to get these individuals to come into our mentoring programs on Saturdays and actually tutor the kids on what they need assistance with.
Amy, can you continue? Thank you so much. Can you continue, please?
Yes, ma'am. We are in the early stages of the implementation of restorative practices. But Mr. Broderick Robinson, one of our restorative justice facilitators at Darden Middle School, he is implementing circles at Darden, and he started with our staff. And that's exactly, we're starting with the adults first to build that environment. And maybe we'll get to see that video in just a moment of him explaining what the circles look like in his building. But he's already starting to see changes in the students. Students' anxiety levels are decreasing. He talks about that, and students are learning how to resolve conflict before those issues really get out of hand. And so through this combination of being proactive, teaching, embedding, and really providing that space to build a positive community in the classroom, outside the classroom, we should see positive impacts on student growth and achievement. This year, we do have plans to hold professional learning sessions for our parents and guardians to share, what is SEL? What is restorative practices? And, this lingo, and what can we do at home to help support our children? So we are going to continue developing our own staff, as well as starting to begin to share that with our parents as well.
Thank you so much. Dr. Foster.
Thank you. We are moving in the direction of providing our parents and community with facts and not fiction, providing our parents with actual information that will be helpful for them to be able to make informed decisions. For example, the 3-strike provision in the 1994 bill, explaining to them what that means so that they're able to speak with their children about avoiding these types of behaviors, teaching them about other avenues concerning how to navigate through financial situations. We have the PNC Bank that comes in and doing a financial workshop with our parents to be able to help them to manage the income that they do have. We work closely with the school system. They're one of our partners to make sure that we are connected with the principals, with the vice principals, with the teachers, and that we have a communication line with them so that we're able to check on the child and they're able to provide us with areas of concern academically, because we want to help them to achieve their goals academically. But what we're working on right now is coming up with a packet to help the parents and the students, because we're going to have a lot of mental health issues crop up because of the long-term isolation from social contact. We're going to have a lot of suspensions because the kids have been isolated, have not been able to interact with one another. We have not been able to teach them social skills, how to interact with groups, and you're going to see acting out. As a matter of fact, we're going to have issues with our parents who've been stuck in the house with them.
That's true.
So we need to be prepared for this, the mental health concerns that will erupt from being isolated. The retarding of social skills. How do we help the parents deal with their wayward child who, not no fault of their own, are acting out? And then the parents not knowing how to deal with them. So we're working on trying to get with the social services and the health department and the school system of what can we do as an after-school program to help prepare the parents and our children with these challenges. Because you and I, we're more stable and more opportunity to see things. Even we have some mental health issues.
Right.
Being isolated, not being able to go to the grocery store, not being able to see our family members, it has caused devastation for even us. And so we need to be prepared for that. So yes, we need to continue to work in partnership and unison with the police department, with the Wilson County Schools, social services, all the entities. We need to come together as a hub to help our children be successful in and during a pandemic of epic proportion.
And something else, thank you so much, Dr. Foster, because you hit the nail directly on the head, and all three of you, Ms. Nichols, Major Boykin, and when you brought in all the isolation, the other issues that these children have faced for the last 18, 19, 20 months, as well as their parents and even teachers. And I have to give a shout out to our teachers for Wilson County Schools. I have to do a shout out for them. And I'm giving this shout out because when you're teaching a group of kids virtually, you have another small group in class. As a retired educator, I understand what the magnitude of being able to balance all of that and still trying to keep our children focused. But and even the isolation during the pandemic for issues that we have not yet seen. And I know with the police department, they may have seen an increase in a lot of different things that we're not focusing on so much tonight, but it has occurred here in Wilson County. So it's going to take all of us to remain focused, to do everything that we can at all the different levels that you're working. So once again, as your legislator, I just want to say thank you as we move on to this next question. And this time I'm going to start with Amy. I'm going to start with you again with this one. Now we're looking at, given that minorities and poor children have been suspended and expelled at higher numbers than other subgroups, what innovative discipline strategies have you utilized that were successful? So Amy, you're first, because we're talking about suspensions and everything that's involved around that. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. First, we have to make sure that we have provided the core expectations that we're being proactive, making sure that if we remove barriers, and I've seen this, if we remove barriers, it could be triggers. If you know your students, if you have relationships, positive relationships with them, you provide that opportunity to build the collaboration. Have a moment. Each of us have times that we're not always feeling the best, and have given them that space to kind of just reconnect a little bit. If someone's feeling angry or frustrated, don't keep at them, and teaching them to understand that they may need just a little time to decompress, get themselves back together. And so trying to make sure we're laying down the foundation to be proactive, and teach them how to self-manage. It kind of goes back to those social skills of how to self-manage themselves and teaching that to them. Not just telling them you're wrong, helping redirect them and get them back into that engaged environment, engaging lessons, relating it to them really helps. We know we have some students that need additional supports, but we've got to have that foundation solid. We do have some tiered supports where we look at analyzing, the function of the behavior. Why are they doing this? Let's really dig deep and determine a plan to help support those students. When we look at the whys, it may be us as the trigger. We may be doing something that's triggering those situations. And so we really try to analyze those things and put a plan together to benefit the student. And it's not a plan to suspend, it's a plan to help teach and redirect them to get them on the right track. 3 of our middle schools right now are, as I mentioned earlier about our restorative justice facilitators, they're implementing some of those restorative practices. And just as our last year was supposedly the first year, but it was difficult. But this is the first year face-to-face, but we're already starting to notice some of those positive outcomes just from using the circles in those 3 middle schools. And it's really been about the teaching and the relationships. So I feel like the discipline strategies is just being proactive, listening, and building the relationships in a supportive environment has, to me, when I see that going on in the classroom, I don't see those types of suspensions happening. When I look at the data, it's not happening in that classroom because they have that implemented in their class.
And we realize that sensitivity training is needed in all of our professions, not just with our classroom teachers or others, but also within our law enforcement area, as well as other areas as well. Dr. Foster, what innovative strategies, discipline strategies do you use within your program?
Well, what we have implemented is to have them meet with me. I'm a retired school counselor, and a North Carolina board licensed professional counselor. And so they will meet with me. Each student will meet with me once a week for a health check, a mental health check, just to see how they're doing, because your body language will depict where you are in real time, to see how things are going, and ensure them that they can trust me in whatever we talk about. You will not be judged, building an atmosphere of trust and rapport, and being, as Ms. Amy has said, establishing a trusting relationship and being an active listener. And so we need to make sure that we have a solid referral system, resources, where we find that that child is having some particular issues, behavioral issues, that we're able to refer them to the right resource. But doing a wellness check with them, just giving them opportunity to just share with me or with one of the other teachers how they're doing in school and at home. Then we want to make sure that doing that wellness check, asking those penetrating questions: do you have enough food in the house? Do you feel safe in your home? Anything we can do to help? Just them knowing that someone cares about them and want them to be safe and secure. We have a lot of resources out here. We just got to let the parents know that there are resources, there's help out there to help them if they're in a food desert type situation, if there's not enough food in the house, if there are problems going on in the household, that the child will be able to come and share with us what is going on in their home, so that we can be, as Ms. Amy has said, proactive. Because we tend to wait till the problem explodes, then we want to start suspending. There are signs and symptoms of that child being in trouble. We just have to keep a keen eye on those signs and symptoms: irritability, irritable, not eating, not sleeping, not involved in the activities they used to be involved in. So we have to be mindful of that. And I think when we begin to show that type of caring, nurturing regard for our students, they'll pick up on that. Because kids can tell if you genuinely care about them.
That's right.
They can tell. And so don't be fooled by that you think they're just too young. They are very perceptive, and they can tell whether or not you genuinely care. And if they care about you and they see that you care about them, you can help them to be better and productive citizens.
Thank you so much. And I saw Major Borkin's head going up and down, because I was bouncing up and down too, Major Borkin. With what innovative strategies do you use? Thank you so much, Dr. Foster. Thank you so much, Ms. Nichols. What will you add to that?
And it's true, kids can genuinely tell if you care about them. They will. And we tell our officers that are involved with our groups that, not everyone's good with kids. And so if you're not, we found a different role for you to play during our mentor session or any of our camps. We try to stress communication. That is our most important key. We come in, we ask everybody, how are you doing? If there's an issue, all of our officers are the ones that their kids are able to communicate with. They're able to talk to them. And I think that's the most important key, is being able to communicate, being able to listen to what that child's going through, trying to help them through that. And I think that plays an important part in being able to come up with ways for us to help them, because you don't know what it's like to be 11 or 12 now, or even a kid now. It's hard. It's totally different, I'm sure, than when all of us were kids. It's totally different. They have things that I couldn't even believe, to imagine growing up that they have to deal with. And that is an important part, I think communication key is the most important part, is being able to communicate, look for alternatives, just ways to help them is the most important part, I think.
Thank you so much. Tonight, we've heard from three dynamic individuals, Ms. Amy Nichols, Major Boykin, and Dr. Lamont Foster. And your programs are so diverse. They are, but all of them have one common entity, and that is care, unity, trying to better the lives of the ones, not only our children, but also the parents as well, because we know that everything is interrelated. So as we leave this evening, I need for each of you to share with our audience how can people get into your programs, and any contact information that you may have for us. And if it needs to be typed into the chat, make sure that you type it into the chat. So let me start with you, Dr. Foster. How can people enroll their children into your program?
Well, the program has been around for a while in the community. They can come and fill out an application. The parents can, to be part of our after-school program and our summer school. The Wilson County Schools is well aware of our program. They make referrals to us. So that's one way, word of mouth. It's open for those students who are at risk or are receiving free or reduced lunches. Our goal is to help change characters and to help children build character. And so it's advertised in the newspaper. We have a website you can go to. We're located at 639 Walnut Street South here at Wilson. It's the old Adams Street School. All are welcome, and we're here to serve. We are servant leaders. So we thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Dr. Foster. Major Boykin.
Yes, we actually have a Facebook page, the police department's Facebook page, where we add all our camps that we're having. You can come to the police department, fill out an application. My number, if you would like to call me, is 252-296-3029. And that's my office. And if I don't answer, just leave me a voicemail and I'll call you back. But you're more than welcome to come to the police department and fill out the application. We're open to all.
And hopefully someone's going to type that into the chat, your number into the chat.
Yes, ma'am. I'll type it at this time.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Nichols.
Yes, ma'am. Really, we have implementation plans we can share. There's no referral to our program because we would support them all in the Wilson County schools. But I will place my email in the chat there for you, and we glad to talk with you. I love collaboration with what we can do together to help support our students. We're currently have just finished up developing our SEL implementation plan. So we're hoping for some really good things this school year. So absolutely, feel free to contact me. I'll be glad to talk with you and continue moving forward to help our youth.
Let me once again thank each of you for being with us this evening. And we look forward to continue to work with you. And now I'm talking as your legislator. If you need me, I am only a phone call and email away. So I'm there to help and do whatever we can for Wilson County. Thank you, Dr. White. Thank you, everyone.
And thank you all. We do have one other video we want to show you on restorative justice. So if the host would please bring that up.
Just getting it pulled up. Sorry for the technical issue.
Mr. Robinson. That's Miss Green.
Okay. Is it elementary or middle?
Is it elementary?
Middle.
Middle. Is that Darden?
Here we go.
Hi, my name is Broderick Robinson. I am the Restorative Justice Facilitator here at Darden Middle School. Restorative Justice here at Darden is a program that was instituted about 2 years ago. This year is the first year that we've been able to really get it up and running. Things that we do with restorative justice is provide pathways to repair harm, different situations that may go on, trying to come to some form of resolution, achieving a common, bring together individuals that act such as circles, and we try to make sure that we have a student to a point that we can introduce them back into school setting environment. So since then, since this has been in process, we have seen that our levels with our youth have gone down as far as anxiety, as far as frustration, because they're able to come in a safe environment and have their own place to have their own voice. We do it as well with our employees as well. So we are actually trying to incorporate other different items such as soft music, lava lamps, and different things of that nature. So if you get a chance, come to Darden and check us out. Thank you.
I want to take this time to especially thank the members of the panel. During the summer, in spite of the pandemic, when they were allowed to safely do so, Dr. Foster offered a summer camp for students over at Save Youth. Thank you for that. It was STEM-based. During the summer, the PAL program opened its arms and they served, I believe it was over 200 students or something during the summer. So we thank you for that. And also, I'd like to thank Ms. Nichols because she was in a recent collaborative Zoom with Durham Public Schools where the two of them were sharing how to implement restorative justice and just helping each other through that implementation process. So a shout out to all of you for that. I want to thank the partners, which are Don Blagrove, Sierra, all of the Elizabeth, who is our host tonight. Thank you all, Jothy, all of them for pulling together the data. Sheriff Woodard could not be with us, but we would like to, I don't see any additional questions in the chat, and it is 7:59. So we will go to the contact screen, which is the last slide. And thank you so much, Representative Cooper-Suggs, for taking your valuable time after you've been at the state level all day fighting for us to come and do the forum. We appreciate that. And the contact information that you see there are from the grant partners, NAACP, Emancipate NC, and CAPE. And if you have any additional questions for us, there's contact information that you can email us. Dawn, Elizabeth, Sierra, did you need to add anything before we go off the air?
No, just wanted to commend you on putting together a powerful forum.
Thank you. Thank you to the whole education committee, Bobby Tyson, Adrian Dixon, all of the work that you all did to help with this, Catherine Leak, Demetrius Cox, and Charles Cook, who is unfortunately not with us tonight because he had a death in his family. But we thank you for all of your work. Thank you so much and have a good evening. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, Dr.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night, take care.